Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Olympian Table.
Good morning, good morning.
So how are we doing today, James?
Oh, man, I've been worse. I have been worse.
And I'm going to rub it in your face more and more and more just because you feel like you don't feel you're 100%, correct?
Yeah, man, just getting over a little bit of, the crud. Not the COVID, but the crud. Actually, my wife was sick, and, of course, I was nursing her back to health, and in doing so,
you are such a good
infected
man.
myself, whatever she had. So I feel better than I sound, but still not I wouldn't say 100% yet. But I'm getting
Jacob
there.
the Tash doing over there? Is he doing all right?
The stash, you mean?
The stash.
Jacob the stash.
The stash.
Yes.
I survived New Year's, so I'm good.
He's here. He's still with us.
Is he still recovering from that New Year's Eve party that he had?
I think, I guess so.
For the part-timer that took a week off.
There you go. Took a week off.
We gave him a week off. We was nice to him. We was nice to him.
It's all right. He's here today.
You were nice to me, yes.
He's all refreshed. I mean, he's all refreshed and ready to go.
And the stash is thick. It is in and thick.
Does your girlfriend like the Tash?
You starting
She's
something.
kind of indifferent about it.
I'm just a genuine question.
Well, I think he's mentioned before that she was a bit not all in on the stash,
really?
but she's
I thought the younger thing was today with all the the goatees. People want to make themselves like a goat.
So
and
the
beard, what they do with goats in foreign countries.
So yes, the beards are in for sure. That's what the ladies like. But just the stash portion of it is always kind of been one of those. You got to be that rebel.
So Jacob, would you if you'd got sort of not gone the halfway but the complete way, do you think she'd like it more?
God, no, she would hate it. It's not even if I went a full handlebar, she would absolutely hate it. I'm barely getting away with this alone. And the small little thing that I have going on here.
Man, hey,
I'll never forget once when I was skating, we visited Canada, and I think it was at the British Embassy, And I don't know who this guy was, but he walked in at the British Embassy, and the guy had this huge moustache, and he'd had the curves at the end.
Oh man, those dudes are proud of those.
And all he was doing all night was.
That's what they do. They're just twisting them, and they're proud of them. You know, they're definitely proud of them.
We was all making fun of him and taking photos of him.
Quite frankly, man, I mean, the facial hair thing, it's never really been my thing.
Me neither. Well, as you can tell, not even on top of my head.
It's just extra work. It's this I don't know, for me.
Is there a grooming routine with it? I mean, do you comb it? What's the sort of...
Well, you got to.
Well, sometimes I just like wash it with shampoo because once it gets to a certain length, it's like normal hair, so it gets like all nappy and like messed up. So, but I don't really brush it. Not when
For me to get to his sort of length, I don't know. It should take me 6 to 9 months.
That long?
Oh yeah. I'm real slow. Always been the same.
I cannot shave.
I'm slow hair growth and slow brain growth.
Oh well, yeah. I don't disagree with the second part,
So,
but.
Not a problem at all.
Hey, I was gonna say, so for a week from today, if I were not to shave, of course, next week when we came back in, I'd have a full beard, mustache and all, but it'd all be gray. That's on my. I don't have any black facial hair anymore. So that was another reason why I shaved all of mine off.
There's another question I was going to ask, but I'm not going to ask it on the podcast because he goes.
Ask me when it's
so
later.
if you've got a grey beard, you know, sort of.
Why would you even care about that, Steve?
Because I just think it's funny. So come on, start us off, James, because I personally have no interest in Jay-Z. I've got my own personal opinions about him, but he is who he is.
He is who he is, and we all know Jay-Z is a music mogul. Been around for a long, long time.
Now, Will Smith, I've got time for.
Oh yeah, of course, and Jay-Z's kind of kept it in the culture, so to speak, for people, the black folks, I would say, but I think he's kind of stretched a little bit wider because now even the younger generation, they know him as Beyonce's husband. Now,
who's from Houston?
Yes, he's a Houston local. But nevertheless, these guys have teamed up. These guys, meaning Jay-Z and Will Smith, have teamed up to start a company that would help low-income Americans become homeowners.
Which is awesome.
Now, I think it's awesome. It's a situation.
It's beyond awesome, actually.
It is. It's a space that needs more attention if we're going to continue to foster growth in underserved communities and just kind of bring some pride back into home ownership. And with the cost of the average home in the States have kind of gone up to close to $290,000 now. Buying a home is just tough. It's really, really tough. So they're teamed up with a company by the name of I think it's Landis, which was like Home Partners and Divvy and all these other ones that have these rent to own models to kind of help people get into a home by the cost of initial deposit for rent, and then they get into the house. So Jay-Z and Will have kind of come together, and they are putting in their money in helping to purchase some of these homes so that people can actually live in them, and kind of build up to the point to where they can get mortgages on their own. So I thought it was a cool article once I found out, of course, what it is now. If you take that 300,000 number, let's just say call it 300,000 and 165 overall, you're only probably looking at about 500 or so homes if they're looking at dollar for dollar. But depending on how they allocate that money, it can go in to help a lot of different communities across the country, depending on how it's all kind of divvied up, so to speak.
Is there any stipulations to what type of areas that are allowed?
I haven't seen the article. Doesn't really go into that much detail with it. It just shows that these guys have gotten together with this company that was already a startup to help add to it.
The reason why I say that is a lot of these companies like Home Partners America and this company that I haven't heard of, what are they called? Landis?
Landis, yes.
If anybody doesn't know there, it's a home to buy program where basically they lease it to you, and then They give you the option to buy for 3 years, 4 years, or something like that.
3 to 5 years I've seen the window.
Right, but I feel that what a lot of these type of companies do is they'll only do it in the top 50 school districts.
Yeah.
Now, I understand why they're doing that, for their own investment, to make sure their investment continues to go up. But to be perfectly honest, it's a lot of the low-income areas and a lot of the, predominantly African-American communities that I think need reinvestment in new construction to help them areas grow.
Sure.
The downside to that is, and a very good friend of mine, and actually I used to teach her daughter, a grandmother called me up about, 7 years ago. And basically called me up and said, somebody's been knocking on my door and the house is in bad condition, but I really want somebody to, to buy the house. And a so-called, what we term in the industry, a wholesaler came knocking on my door and offered me $180,000 for the house. And I think I'm going to accept it. I really feel that, I can do that. And then, I'm renting an apartment and I've got $180,000 to see me out. Unfortunately, she's passed since then.
Oh, okay.
And her daughter was one of the cheerleaders at for the Rockets. And basically, Gina called me up and said, well, can you give me a rough estimate on what it would be for the house? And that house was worth like $320,000,
wow,
even in the condition that it was at the time, because it's a very developing area.
And they offered a 180
Street, just outside the medical center.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I really feel that them are the areas that we need help in. But one of the problems is the people, and predominantly African-American homeowners, have been in these areas for a long time. All right. And they're getting to the point, because the area is developing, where they can't afford the property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So that, in effect, is driving them out of the neighborhood to the point where they've got to sell to go move to other places.
Sure. And to your point, that the problem, another big problem with that is her house being worth $325, and they offer her $180. What is she going to go and buy? She has really no other option other than to go and rent.
Precisely, that was the point. The only option she had was to go lease a property.
She got to go lease something, because she can't buy something for that amount.
She's, she was getting on in years at the time. I mean, as I said, she's passed now. That I really feel that, people of color are basically being driven out of these areas through cost.
Yes.
Now, I don't think it's necessarily a discriminatory thing. I think it's very sad from a human point of view.
Right.
I feel that Gina's grandmother, she basically, her family had owned that house for 4 generations.
Wow.
And that's the sad part.
That is.
She's probably sold it by now, to be perfectly honest. But I hope she didn't sell it for $180.
Yeah, that would.
Because when some people don't believe realtors. We do try to do the best for people, because we don't like people. The good realtors don't like people being shafted.
It doesn't help anyone.
But at the end of the day, people get carried away when it comes to dollars.
Right.
There's a longer game. So.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So
I think that's an excellent program.
Yeah, kudos to Jay-Z and to Will Smith for getting
really
into that together.
The Jay-Z thing, I love Beyonce.
The Jay-Z thing, come on. Have you given him a chance?
No.
Have you heard the blueprint?
Perhaps I'm getting mixed up with that other guy. What's the other guy that wants to be a politician?
Oh, Kanye?
Yeah, there you go.
Different guy.
Okay, good. Well, I'm okay with Jay-Z.
Very different.
Okay.
Totally different guy.
Kanye West, to me, he needs to go into the trash can. He's just a
Hey, he has his place.
lunatic. But basically, no. In that case, I'm all in with him.
Yeah, kudos to those
Beyonce,
guys coming together.
I think Beyonce, I love. She's gone through the ringer and she's gone through the hard way, and she's created such success. She's living the American dream. She is the American dream. And I know she's a great role model. That's why I've got time for her.
Oh, cool. Well, good. Kudos to Beyonce's husband and Will Smith.
And I love Will Smith.
Coming together. Who doesn't like Will, right?
My first introduction to America was watching him on, what was that program?
The Fresh Prince?
Yeah. He was the funniest person I've ever seen in my life at the time. I was absolutely...
You had a terrible... before Will Smith, that was back in the 90s.
I got here in 95.
Oh, okay.
So, To be perfectly honest, I mean, I thought he was just so
You
funny.
mean you had Benny Hill over there, and you saying that Will Smith was
Yeah,
funnier?
but that was a different type of humor.
But Benny Hill was hilarious, man.
English humor has a bit more of a sexual touch.
It does, absolutely.
You know, you're all prudes over here. You know, I mean, we find it funny to sort of, you know.
What you telling Benny Hill wasn't funnier than Will Smith?
What's that?
Benny Hill wasn't funnier
Different
than...
type of humor, completely different type of humor. That's what I'm saying.
But it was funny though.
Will
We love the
Smith-
Benny Hill show.
Oh no, I know.
As a kid.
I think a lot of Americans love.
Jacob, have you ever heard of the Benny Hill show?
No.
Okay. I'll tell you what. We're completely off topic, but let's
Completely off
talk.
topic, right.
All right. You tell me who you think. I want you to give me your top 3 best comedians of all time.
Of all time. Man.
My number 1 choice is actually an American.
Okay. You want me to go? Or you want to go?
No, you go
Okay.
if you want to. I'll tell you what. You give your number 1 choice, then I'll give my number 1 choice. Then Jake can give his number 1 choice. Your hero comedians, if you want to.
Well, I don't have any hero type comedians, I would say,
think
but
so.
I would say
Let's make it
probably
top 5.
my
Let's make
top,
it interesting.
probably my top comedians. If I had to name them, of course, would be Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy.
Let's write these down. So we got Dave Chappelle.
Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor.
Was you a delirious?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Never should have been watching that as a kid, but I
Dave
did
Chappelle,
anyway.
Eddie Murphy.
Richard Pryor. I was also a fan of. He's not with us anymore, but oh my goodness, what's the guy's name?
Woody Allen.
Nope.
Oh, I know Woody Allen.
Oh
He's
my
famous
goodness.
for a lot more than
His
comedy.
movies.
Oh
and comedy,
my
yeah.
goodness. What's this guy's name? And it kind of speaks to me that he was not him, but he was along with that during that time when Sam Kinison was big back then. Oh my goodness, George. Oh my goodness, comedian George.
George Lopez?
Nope. Was it George? George Carlin. George Carlin.
I want to write that down. Look at some of the videos.
That dude there, because he was at a time where he thought different. It wasn't politically correct, but if you listen to him, it was there. And then my last to run out the 5, because these are in no specific order, would be Patrice O'Neal. God rest his soul. I like those guys. But I like some to your point, I like some British comedians as well. But those would be my top 5.
It's a different type of humor.
It's a different type of humor. You know, you got funny people and then you have Brits.
You didn't say Benny Hill.
But Benny Hill, I never saw him in a comedian type stand-up situation. We just watched the Benny Hill show, which I thought was hilarious to me. So that was funny as a kid. Yes, it was funny. It was we did enjoy him, but I like Ricky Gervais. I think that guy's hilarious. He's got a really good sense of humor, and he doesn't really care what anybody thinks. He's like, whatever, this is what it is. So, but yeah, those are my guys. Did you get them all? You didn't even write Patrice O'Neal, man. Patrice O'Neal, you can't forget him.
My number 1 comedic hero, Joan Rivers.
Really? Okay.
I think Joan Rivers was.
She didn't care either what anybody thought.
No. You just got to watch some of her interviews, and you know, if anybody wants to on YouTube, go watch an audience with Joan Rivers. I think it's one of the funniest things that, honestly, just incredible. You know, the second one is Ricky Gervais.
Okay.
Third one is Jim Jeffries, who's an Australian comedian.
Okay.
Ricky Gervais obviously is English. Jim Jeffries is Australian. And there's another one called Jim Carr. You ever heard of Jim Carr?
Jim Carr?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of him.
I watch him all the time.
But hey,
Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr. And then the other one that I quite like is, let me go to my YouTube. I want to make I forgot. Because I say to everybody, you know, when you're down a little bit and you're feeling a bit low,
right.
I go to my YouTube channel, I bring up comedy people. And the other one that I really like, to be perfectly honest, is Chris Rock. And you didn't mention Chris Rock.
Well, see, Chris Rock was a bit controversial back then. I had Chris Rock kind of toward the top for me back in the day. But as I've gotten older, he isn't as funny as some of the others that are out there. Now, during the time, I thought it was funny. Bigger and Blacker and all those were awesome shows.
Eddie Murphy's awesome. I mean,
yeah.
you know, obviously he's
Absolutely.
You know, he's obviously one of the kings. But
right.
you know, yeah, Jimmy Carr's a British, bit controversial. But I mean, Joan Rivers she makes me laugh from start to finish.
Kudos for you for putting a woman on the list.
You know,
all right,
she really
I like
does.
it.
And the other one that I like is, let me go to my history. What name?
Oh, you already been watching them on YouTube.
Oh,
huh?
I'm watching them all the time. I really am. It's just, I'm on the wrong. I see a lot of Elvis. I've been listening to a lot of music recently. I think Trevor Noah's good.
Right.
Trevor Noah is good. He's one of mine up there.
I will say I didn't put him on my top 5 list, but I've got to give him the honorable mention because he's also hilarious. Bernie Mac, hilarious comedian. I didn't appreciate his comedy as much until he passed. His actual comedy, but hilarious. That show was an amazing show. But Bernie Mac for sure is in there in my top.
Bernie
my all
Mac.
stars. Yeah.
Who?
Gabriel Iglesias. Is that Fluffy?
Yeah, that's Fluffy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that's
he's
Fluffy.
good. Oh,
Yeah,
Fluffy's good.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
funny.
Fluffy's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, he is good.
Fluffy's good. Anybody else got any ideas out there?
I gotta, I have to give honorable mention also to a guy some many may not have heard of, but he is hilarious. Mitch Hedberg died too soon. He was only 37 years old. Died of an OD. But the guy had a delivery of humor that was beyond me. It was he kept you in stitches. R.I.P. Mitch Hedberg there.
I gotta say, my top favorite,
Okay.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, okay.
He was one of the guys. I just love how he was just talk so fast, and you never really got a chance
Full
to
of
catch your breath while he's just like slinging jokes left
What
and
was
right.
the name of that comedian in the 80s? He was like a Polish guy, and he was
Polish?
He used to speak funny, like a very, very high pitched voice. He had a really high pitched voice. He was famous. He was.
A Polish comedian?
Yeah, he well, I don't know if he was American or not, but there was a show in the 80s and the 90s, and there was a Polish comedian that was like, everybody used to laugh at, basically because I guess they used to think he was not quite all there. A little bit to the point, and if you said his name, that's going to bug me all day long. What the guy was, he was, there was a famous show.
He was on a famous
show? It was like a garage, like a garage.
Okay. And I have no clue who you're talking about. I'm thinking all the weird kind of people, like Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson, and
he is. I mean, there's so many.
Shimon Daisagan? No, not him.
Nope, that doesn't sound familiar.
Pyotr Gasarovsky?
What?
I just looked up Polish comedians, and I'm just reading down the list.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know about that one, bro.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll move on. That's my little bit of natural diversion for the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we need to talk about that though. About I mean, there's Dave Letterman, Jay Leno. I mean, there's so many famous.
There's a lot.
Comedians.
There's a lot. There's definitely.
Whoopi
And
Goldberg.
comedy is so.
It's funny because I put about famous comedians, and Louis Black's come up. Whoopi Goldberg. Who is something on it?
Louis C.K. is hilarious as well. He's out now.
Jerry Lewis, Ellen DeGeneres, Trevor Noah, Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the one that.
I don't think you're going to find your Polish guy.
Oh,
he probably wasn't that funny.
He did a famous skit.
It's okay, I'm Polish.
Bernie Mac's there. Bernie Mac was 1957 to 2008. Adam Sandler, Joe Rogan, Johnny Carson. You know, I think he was one of the greatest.
Johnny Carson?
I mean, he was there for a number of years. Yeah.
Yeah, but in my day,
Amy Schumer,
he just had a
Jim
TV
Carrey.
show, so I can't really speak on this comedy.
Steve Martin. We're not going to mention Bill Cosby. Kevin
Why not?
Hart.
Why not? Why not mention Bill Cosby? He was a comedian.
They freed him recently, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah. But I personally, I like Christian.
Cool.
Anyway.
Well, man, while we're still in that
We just
real estate, we kind of went down a rabbit hole a little bit there. It's all right though. It happens at the Olympian Table at times.
I have an apology to make.
It's all good.
I'm sorry we forgot Fluffy.
Yes, well, Fluffy got in there thanks to Eduardo.
Yeah.
So housing market's hot, man. But what about that rental market?
Well, I don't know if you can pull it up. Underneath the housing market and not even after the rental market, it's so disappointing. On the home ownership end, I mean, for the reasons that you said as well, for the first-time home buyers to come in, and people are being forced to, lease properties.
Absolutely.
And, Texas is not a rent control state. That it's not. Because it is a rent control state. Landlords are very vicarious.
Right.
A lot of landlords were put into a precarious situation with the whole COVID thing. It was getting all these, the tenants were getting government help, and some of that government help was not going to the tenants; it was going into the tenants' pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my big gripe with a lot of the American system. I think it's great to give help to people, but you've got to manage. It's like having a business and not managing your money and making sure it's going to the right parts of the business to flourish. And I don't think Texas Rent Relief have done a good job of that.
Well, I think this whole the work from home situation has kind of made it completely different, and it's affected it, and people don't realize how much
We've
it's
changed
affected.
our business model.
Yeah, how much is affected, just buying a home, renting a home, so on and so forth. So, in this last debacle speaking of, rent control, with landlords having to be put in a position to where they can't evict someone, even a person that was late before the whole shutdown stuff started.
We had that.
It's just, what do you do for the landlords? What kind of protection do they have in order to try to stay afloat? Because they still got mortgage payments to make on these properties in most cases. So it's unfortunate.
One of my properties, we had a mortgage payment. We've been making it, and
they're not paying.
My tax records show on that particular property a pretty substantial loss, and it's very unfair that they're in that.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
it is tough. So,
but basically, now what's happening is because it's the price. I don't want to call it price gouging, but because the increase in prices have gone up on home sales, as always, what does it do? It flows down. So now it's going to the rentals because the cost of the houses is going up. So if the house is bought by an institution or if it's bought by an investor, them to even, get a return on their investment,
got to jack up the prices.
They've got to put up the rental prices, which in effect is causing another problem. My worst case scenario, the thing that really in the back of my head, to be perfectly honest, is I just hope that he doesn't drive people homeless.
Yeah.
And into poverty. That's I mean, I know I'm looking at the extreme end.
Well, it may not be that far extreme, man. Because if we get into a situation with the COVID cases increasing and they go into another lockdown of sorts, it could be more real than you think.
And I mentioned to my wife, I mean, this is a completely different topic again, as always, me going shooting off a tangent, but I was talking to my wife last night about what worries me at the moment is, you know, the airline industry, the travel industry, the hospitality industry, the restaurant industry, anything hospitality side of it, hotel industry. We have clients that own hotels, put them up for sale because of COVID. And the second round of that, this COVID thing.
The white people out.
It's already white people walk down. To me, that you know, a lot of them are small businesses, and it's very, very, very sad. You know, and but anyway, that's what's happening is, you know, underneath the housing market at the moment, what you've got is an even hotter rental market, and as soon as a rental market, as soon as a rental house comes up, I mean, it's leased out very quickly.
It's gone.
You know, and it's just it's sort of sad, really, because, you know, people have got to find a place to you know, make home. We all say how important home life is for the family.
It is. It is.
And for the future of, you know, the kids and how they grow up and everything.
Absolutely. We just got to make sure we stay out in front of those. So if you're looking for options to rent or to buy, reach out to us. We're here to help. Speak to your professionals for sure.
Yeah, please do. Please reach out to Century Along.
So did you hear about the new position that Elon Musk financially? So he's apparently worth $300 billion now, and this Tesla stock is really a big part of it. He has put a great divide between himself and the next person, and then Jeff Bezos, because Jeff Bezos used to be the man on the totem pole with the money wise, but man, this dude is crushing it.
Do you think this is like an ego thing though, with an inner fight with these billionaires?
Well, between each other?
Yeah. Do you think it's like an inner fight? I want to get number one. I want to get number one.
You know what? I think if you got that much money, you don't care. I mean, I know for me, I wouldn't care.
I think that they do care, and I think they both have pretty big egos at this point.
They definitely have egos. They definitely have egos. I think money brings that upon them. But I mean,
the only thing I'm going to say on this, because I really don't care about it, apart from the fact that, one, they need to pay more taxes, but, you know, so it feeds the people that need the help, or that's the whole idea if it's managed properly. But
that's the key.
But one of the things that I really feel all these billionaires and millionaires is they're so off on what normal life and regular life is.
Oh yeah,
like Ellen DeGeneres, when was it Gates was on there? How much was a bag of Tostitos?
Yeah, the pizza rolls.
$22.
Yeah, the pizza rolls.
No idea.
They don't have a clue.
Yeah, and it's just on a completely different level. Do I respect them? Somewhat, from a business point, I do. But, you know, anyway.
How do we know, though? I mean, we don't. I mean, I say you give everybody respect, but you don't really know these people. They don't know us.
You don't. And
quite frankly, it's about money. A Tesla is at $1,148 a share. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And NASDAQ has dropped 130 points as we speak at the moment. Dow's up 77 points. You know, I trade NASDAQ. And yesterday I took a hammering. The day before I did pretty well. And crude oil's up, which is interesting. And gold is up as well.
It's
gold's
definitely
up 9%
interesting to
at the
see
moment for the day.
Where it's headed, where it'll be, because he just makes more money every day. More money gets dropped in the bank account. So, or was that 78? Yeah, it is up. That is right.
What's
but
that?
yeah, I was looking at the oil price.
Yeah, oil's up.
But yeah, man, they're crushing it. People are ordering the cars, and stocks are rallying. So,
There's a reason, and I'd like some of our viewers to let us know, but there's a reason apparently why in America, in China, there's a lot of electric vehicle companies, but apparently they can't import them. Is that true?
I haven't heard that. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was China.
I was told that because apparently there's electric vehicles in China that are being made, and they're being made very cheaply. And they're a lot cheaper than what the likes of Tesla are, but for whatever reason it is, they can't bring them into the US. They're not allowed to bring them in. Well, there's a Chinese company called NIO. I've got shares.
Well, what would you, if you had to guess, why would you think? Because I'll give you my guess.
What, where it hasn't got indicators or?
Well, think about
or
it.
Or directionals, as you call them.
You've got the richest man in the world here in America, lives in Texas. Why would he even allow for there to be a space for a competitor to come in from another country?
But Ford are coming into it. GM are coming in.
But they're here.
I mean.
Yeah, I think it maybe has to do with like tariffs. I think a lot of it, and so they just tariffs on China. So I imagine that plays a huge part of them like bringing it over here, and that might not be profitable enough for them to bring it over here. So that could be part of it.
Or it may just be, listen, I'm worth $300 billion. I've lined your pockets to do X. Then no, we're not bringing that crap over here. At least not until I get my fair share of it. Who knows, man? I mean, you make that much money, you got some people behind you, some folks you can buy, and there's a price for everything. So I don't know. That's just my guess. I don't see it being beneficial for him allowing a competitor to come in, a direct competitor. Even though I don't know if that Rivian Automotive, I don't know if you guys have heard of those guys.
Oh, yes.
I bought shares with them.
Yeah, I have them too. Hopefully it'll come back to where it once was. But Rivian, that's a competitor for that electric vehicle. And that's enough at this point. I think Bezos is included in that one.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
I think he's somewhere tied down into it. I won't testify to it, of course, but back to the whole ego point that you mentioned. Hey, getting in there going against each other.
Oh yeah.
Rivian, they put out some little online commercials here lately. They got an electric vehicle that's supposed to rival the Tesla. So
and it's a truck.
Yeah, it's a truck.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was given best vehicle of the year award. I think already, just based on what they've seen so far with it.
But here's the deal. You said about the Formula One was going all electric.
Yeah,
it's not going all electric.
Well, not all electric. They're not going all, but they're putting a big portion of it was going to be electric.
Right. I agree. All right, but I was talking to my wife about it because we've been to Formula One. I mean, I really think Formula One track in Austin is the best that I've been to in the world, and I've been to Silverstone, in the UK, Brands Hatch.
Right.
I did semi-pro car racing, if you can call it that. I used to call it car crashing. All right, but it was a lot of fun. We just did it for a kick. But to be perfectly honest, when you're at a Formula One track and you hear them engines, it's just not. If you went all electric, it just wouldn't.
It ain't the same.
Now you've got Formula E, okay, which is all electric.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah,
because they have that as well.
And Formula E supposedly is it's a completely different experience because you haven't got the engines and.
Yeah.
But Formula One, I can't imagine going back to Austin and just watching no noise cars.
A bunch of Chevy boats driving around.
I just.
No, I'm with you on that because.
And I'm an electric. I'm into the electric thing.
If you can watch some of these videos, and I've never watched one of the Formula One videos on YouTube and not just get engulfed. And I look up and I'm 30 minutes in. I'm looking because the way these guys it can change so quickly. And them kind of going and turning and they're going through the gears. And
here we go.
It's
We're
amazing.
not tangent again, but this is what I'm going to tell you. One of my heroes, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
All right. Going into the last year on Formula One Championship, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton were on equal points.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there was a car change. there was a legality, if you want, with what went on, and in the last, I don't know, 2 mile, Verstappen overtook him and took the championship.
Really, he lost. Lewis lost.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's a big point of discussion on whether it was crooked, whether it was this, whether it was that. Well, my honest feeling is, although I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, best of luck to you, Max. He's an incredible driver. I think it's good to get competition because you've got Williams out there now.
Of course.
Red Bull, who fund that they're the only team in Formula One who don't actually physically have a motoring company.
Okay.
And Red Bull do it for marketing purposes, but they throw.
If you don't know who Lewis Hamilton is, look him up. He's a Brit. He's a black guy. So get out there and support.
Working class. He grew up working class.
Yep.
Yeah, I was about to say he's like the American dream, but over in the UK.
In the UK,
how he rose up.
And he created such a stir driving go-karts. His dad used to work literally 28 hours in a day, although there's 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Just to get the money to get
together, get him in there.
And then he went through the ranks. I think he won Formula 3, Formula 2. Then he was headhunted, went to work for, I think the first Formula 1 team he was with was McLaren. And then he ended up winning the title with them, to be perfectly honest. And McLaren's like the second team, if you want to say.
Oh, yeah.
It's expensive to run.
Cool, man.
So what we got up next?
What do we have next? Let's see what we got here.
S&P beats 500.
Yeah, man, I think that was you.
Yeah, S&P 500 beats NASDAQ, which is the first time in 24 years. So, I was talking to somebody this morning because, I do a little bit of day trading through the IM Academy, and it was interesting because I was talking to somebody saying that at the moment it's a little bit uncertain. It was Dennis Shelton, actually. He trades bonds. One of our agents, he trades bonds as well. And I said at the moment it's such an interesting time because you've got the threat of COVID on one side. You've got retail sales that are coming in. The numbers are now coming in the new year, and profits from some companies, gone through the roof, to be perfectly honest. Our numbers here this year gone up 25-30% on sales. So it's very much a bouncy market at the moment. It's up one day, down the next. It's up one. Very, very volatile market. Whether you're in, S&P or Dow, but it's the first time in 24 years that the S&P 500. The S&P doesn't move so fast as. S&P 500 doesn't move as fast as NAS.
Okay.
NAS 100 or US 100, whichever you want to call it, it moves a little bit, at different speeds. But S&P 500 has got some momentum at the moment. I don't quite know whether it's down for today.
I haven't looked at it either.
S&P 500 is down. NAS is down.
I think they're all down. I got a bond
Dow's
alert.
up.
I got a bond alert earlier. They were down, so.
What, were you bought a bond?
No, the mortgage bonds, mortgage-backed securities.
Okay. I can't understand at the moment why people buy bonds.
It's a safer bet.
But the interest rate is ludicrous.
But it's safer. When you
want to
take
with some of these cryptocurrencies you've got now, I mean, you can loan money to some of these cryptocurrencies with a guaranteed rate of 50%.
I actually had a bunch of bonds because that's what like my Christmas present was for like the longest of time, was just to get maybe $100 worth of bonds and just get that every year.
Yeah.
So I was like, then when I had to use them.
Can you buy them in lower lots, like $100?
It's a more depending on what you're getting. So what he's talking about is a little savings bonds type
savings bonds kind of stuff. Yeah.
But typically when you want to take a lower risk, you take your money out of stocks and you put them in the bonds because the risk is a bit lower. The gains are lower, but you're not losing as much. So
because the market at the moment, you're better off taking your money out of the bank because they ain't getting nothing for it.
Yeah, banks all they're doing is using your money anyway, so you're not getting any kind of return.
And that's why I'm looking forward to cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency takes all that power away from the banks.
Yeah. it is definitely a facet that is here. It'll be here.
And I reckon, the mentoring classes that I've been doing for the whole cryptocurrency thing through IM Academy have basically been, basically said that this year they're going to see change, more stores taking more countries.
It's inevitable. I mean, it's going to happen. So, it's kind of one of those things where get on now or you won't.
Yeah.
You'll miss it, shall I say.
And then
let's flip the woolly mammoth first before we do
you want to do the
ogre.
woolly
Yeah.
mammoth?
Because I think that's a discussion of
Ethics.
well, it's not even that. So of course, I know we differ in our beliefs, but I think this
you differ, James.
Yeah, I think this would
We
be.
do. How do we differ, James?
Well,
tell
actually,
me. Tell me how we differ.
Well, you're charming and handsome, and I'm not. So that's the
Well,
biggest
I
difference.
appreciate that compliment, but
Hey, there you go.
I do agree with you.
There we are. But this
See, he always avoids the question. Just to let you know over there, Mr.
This
Tash.
article that I found talked about this group, this bioscience company that raised $15 million to basically grow woolly mammoths. Now, here's the thing. As I understand, woolly mammoths existed in a time where the temperatures got pretty treacherous.
Was that before or after the Bible?
Well, got pretty. The Bible's been around.
I know it has, but that's what I'm asking. That's the question I was asking. It was.
I don't know. Do more research. You can ask.
Was woolly mammoths? I mean, I do believe you.
Or since,
yeah,
if you know,
you're talking about woolly.
Let me educate you then. If you really want to know, let me answer your question. The animals came after Adam. Adam named the animals. So if you want the question being answered, it would have to be after all of that, the creation and stuff happened. Not necessarily after the Bible was written.
The woolly mammoth came after
Adam. Yeah. Not necessarily after the Bible was written or transcribed, but in creation and so on and so forth. Because I know that's where you're getting at. This ought to be down your alley, man. You're the science guy.
We're not. I'm not a science guy.
You say you believe in science, right?
I believe in science, but my science teacher didn't think I was a science.
So the woolly mammoth has been extinct for 10,000 years, they say.
But the Bible was written after 5,000.
Okay, what's your point?
Well, then woolly mammoths must have happened before the Bible.
I just said that, Stephen. Are you listening? It wasn't after.
So, but
the Bible get put together. Are we talking about creation or are we talking about the Bible? Which one?
Well, when was the earth created?
When God created it.
Which was roughly what year? 20 years ago.
It was before time. There was no time.
Okay.
The Earth is roughly about like 4 billion years old.
What, the mammoth?
No, Earth.
I
just
agree.
from a scientific standpoint, it's like 4 to like 5.
I was just talking about the Bible, to see how the Bible sort of checks out with the timelines. Everybody's to make their own.
Well, there is no time when it comes to God. Okay, let's move on. So the woolly mammoth itself has been extinct, and supposedly this group has invested this money to bring these or lab grow these woolly mammoths. And supposedly within 6 years, these are supposed to be these DNA experiments are supposed to be having these animals. I don't know if they're going to be walking the earth, but apparently they've developed something that's supposed to bring the woolly mammoth back to existence.
Go on, I know where you're going with this.
Now, in my opinion, this is something that, first of all, an animal of that mass, we don't know how it will interact with people. So if we're going to create something...
But you've got guns in Texas.
Well, we got guns. But then you want to kill your $15 million creation? I don't know if this is a great idea. We're playing God.
Oh, I see it coming now. They're gonna make a bunch of these. They're gonna put them somewhere, and they're gonna have people go and hunt them, and that will be like a big tourist attraction. This is what I see. This is what I foresee.
They'd be one of the big five, right? Because that's what they do. But then you're gonna have the groups that want to protect the woolly mammoth, like to save the whales and.
Oh, PETA's gonna be all over.
Oh
that.
yeah, they'll be all over it. They will, even if they trample and kill, murder people, as they roam. Because where are they gonna put them?
Well,
where are they gonna put these beasts that they can survive?
You know what? I have a client who owns a ranch up in, and they bring. I don't know if I've told you this. They bring exotic deer, right, all the way from Africa into North Texas, so they can
hunt them and kill them.
Hunt them. Now, to me, that's utterly gross. Let them live in their peace.
Yeah. But
I'm not saying that's the case in this, but I think there's ways to control them.
Some people have they have a track record of taking people from their homeland and bringing them to a place they don't want to be and kill them. That has happened before. And those folks.
Could that have happened in America, by any chance?
Oh, absolutely.
It did.
It did.
Really?
You gotta love the Belgians.
You've got to love the Constitution.
Hey, call it what you will. It has definitely happened before. But yeah, that's and unfortunate that it happens. It's definitely happened. But they've done this with a lamb, supposedly. This group has done this with a lamb, and they grew this lamb in an artificial womb, and they're going to try to do this with this woolly mammoth.
My problem is that, I mean, I know you've got your concerns from the God point and everything else, but my honest feeling on this is, if they do grow it from a lamb, is it really a mammoth?
No, it's not growing from a lamb. That was an example. Like, they did it before, so now they're using that example because they did it with a lamb fetus. Now they're going to do it with a woolly mammoth.
So where do they get the fetus from? Just the DNA?
The DNA, exactly. The DNA. But I would imagine the space for a lamb is going to be a lot smaller than a woolly mammoth.
Do you know what's funny about this article? If you go to just above, if you can just scroll down a little bit. No, sorry. Scroll up, sorry. Just a little bit and stop. This is where it gets confusing. How we can actually do it, Church said. It makes you sound like it's somebody from the church. This is going to change everything.
You better believe it is. You better believe it is. I don't know, man. This is just says Church and his team aim to manipulate the genetic code of Asian elephants, which share a common ancestor, the woolly mammoth. That's crazy.
I think, personally, this is just my personal opinion, I think science should be there to maybe get rid of some of the diseases that we have in the world, whether it be COVID. I mean, with stem cell surgery and things like we spoke about, I think that's something that should be done. I don't think we should be able to, if people are in wheelchairs and we can get them up walking and give them independence, I'm 100% behind that. Even me, as a sort of like to feel myself as a science guy, I'm honestly thinking to myself, what are we achieving by this?
What is it going to do? Is it going to give me a bigger stake in an HEB that I can buy?
And just to prove that they can.
It's an ego thing, right?
How is it really helping
anyone?
Civilization? How is it? I don't know. Perhaps somebody else needs to explain it to me because
No, you're dead on. You're dead on. That's what I thought. It's like, okay, so y'all playing gods. Okay, so be it. Okay, you create a woolly mammoth, 50 of them. What are you going to do with them? Is there some kind of medicine in their tusks or in their hair or something that's going to help save
I just don't know. It's going to help humanity.
Jurassic Park.
There you go.
In real life.
We saw how that ended. Gee whiz. That was terrible. But yeah, these guys are, they've got the money. Somebody's putting the money up, Steve. So I guess if you see woolly mammoth come across the NASDAQ, you might want to invest in it a little bit because it's going forward.
On principle, I don't think I'd invest in that. Yes, here you go, mammoth coin. And now let's get on. Come on, let's get on to the sad part.
Man,
this was just bad news.
So we lost a pioneer, man, over the weekend. Now, speaking of animals, I did not realize how involved Betty White was with animal activism. So apparently, she even had a show back in the day about saving pets and doing things for the animals and such. But she was 99 years old, man. She's just a few weeks short of turning 100.
What I'm going to tell you is this is no word of a lie or an exaggeration. But the day before New Year's Eve, my wife absolutely adores Betty. And you always look back on the year, right? You always look back on the year and
sure.
think, you know what? I'm glad. Me personally, I'm glad last year's out the way. There's a lot of challenges, a lot of personal challenges, business challenges, and everything. It's been very challenging. Probably been the worst year that I've had in 21. Sorry. But I said to my wife, I said, I haven't heard of Betty White recently. What's going on with her? And my wife said, you know what? I love Betty White. She's just the person. When I get to that age, I want to be just like Betty White. That was the day before this was announced. And my wife cried when we heard about Betty White.
Wow.
Because when she came over from Vietnam in 74, 75, and the introduction to American TV, The Golden Girl, he left such an impression on her. And so she's always, wondered about Betty White.
Sure.
And I'll never forget, seeing her being on the Dave Letterman, Jay Leno show and some of these late nights.
She was on a lot. They had videos of people she was with. He was on with Janet Jackson doing a commercial or some video or something as her
probably Pepsi
godfather, fairy godmother or something. Just so much stuff, man. I mean, you've been around that long. That's a long time. And people say gone too soon. Come on, man. She was almost 100.
And she died, what, 2 weeks before 100?
January 17th is her birthday. There was even
we should still celebrate her.
They should still go on because there was a celebration coming up for her 100th birthday, and I think they should still do it.
I do too.
They were selling tickets.
She was supposed to be on Time Magazine, the front page.
I think they should still do all of that. They should still do it and just, in celebration.
And celebrate her life.
Her life, exactly. Because it doesn't take any of that stuff away. It's just a matter,
Yeah.
She's not here to enjoy it with us. So
anyway,
that's
about it for this week.
That's what I got, man.
And now you're rushing off to a closing. Another home sold.
Well, you know what? That's a good thing for us all to have a closing. First of the year.
But hopefully, it's even better than that. It's a new homeowner moving into a home.
There you go, man. That's always a good thing.
That's the thing that good agents we don't worry too much about the money.
And
we really don't.
I don't know if anyone's mentioned this to you. I've seen here recently, the last 3 contracts I've received, they all had seller contribution in them.
Get yourself a good agent.
I don't know if
knows
it's a
how to
shift.
negotiate.
Knows how to negotiate. I don't know if that's an idea of a shift.
And that's a big part of our training at Central
It is. If you want to look at doing it, don't go in there thinking that you can't get something from the seller because, hey, you got somebody that's in your corner.
Absolutely.
They can do it for you. So
yeah.
If you need anything from us, look in the description below. Reach out to us. We can help you buy a home, sell a home, rent a home, and even get a mortgage.
Yeah, and if you're looking at getting into day trading, which a lot of people are doing now, I've just started it. It's definitely had its ups and downs.
Oh, yeah. More ups, I would have to say. You've been doing pretty good.
I have been doing pretty good. Yeah, go click the link below for IM Academy. I recommend them. We're not paid to do that, but we're just saying I personally think it's a great way for people to change their lives. And actually, on one of the videos that I was watching, out there, it was saying that they reckon that the trading, market, and now it's happening because people are making gigs on that, is going to change a lot of. It will affect the African American community. A lot of African Americans, which is true. I've been to a couple of conferences, and 80% of them are African American, and they're really getting into it. And I've told you about the one guy that I knew. 22, gets a finance degree, goes to work for Facebook.
Sure.
And now he's full-time trading.
Well, hopefully
and he works an hour and a half a day, and he makes more than he ever did with Facebook.
Hopefully they don't change the rules on us then.
So, anybody interested, go click the link below, the IM Academy link. because I thought it was a bit of a risky thing to do at one point, but I've actually enjoyed it. It's given another dimension to life, to be
every day you show me your phone. Oh, look what I get. Look what I got.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, guys. We hope you have a great day and a great week, and we'll see. I'm not here next week. I'm away. I'm at a business leadership council.
We partying next week then. Come make sure you're here.
Yeah, there you go.
Make sure you're here.
Maybe I'll get you on Zoom or something. We'll see. I don't mind doing that. I should be able to do that. We'll see what my schedule is on the leadership part.
We'll figure something out.
But if not, we might even have Jeff on here again.
Hey, who knows? It's a new year.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So everybody tune in next week to see who the guest is.
Absolutely.
Have a good week, guys. Stay happy. Don't let things get you down. Even if something negative happens, there's always something positive that can come out of it.
Absolutely.
So,
Amen.
Be positive. Be strong. Have a great week. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.